Hey Light Warriors, today we're going to discuss the Schumann Resonance and the recent energy update for the Schumann Resonance. And I'm doing this update a little bit differently than we normally do. Normally we're out in nature, grounding, like we should when we go through these Schumann Resonance spikes, but I'm making this video today as a teaching tool, as many people should be familiar with the Schumann resonance as we go through the event, the 5D Earth timeline split. This gives important scientific evidence for the Great Awakening. Just like you, Light Warriors, I like to have evidence of certain things. So if you say, well, where's the evidence of this event? Where is the evidence of this timeline split and this great change for our planet? Well, the answer is the evidence is in the Schumann resonance. So I've seen that many of you that have been on this journey for a while with me have been watching the videos and still are a little unsure of what the Schumann resonance is. So I've decided to use this energy update to do in this style because we have a lot of different examples. As you could see the chart here, we have a simple Schumann resonance update chart, and we're going to use this as a teaching tool so that people can understand a little bit more about the Schumann resonance, because this plays an important role to what's going on all around the planet and as we are shifting human consciousness. And we're going through a great change right now, right? This is the great beginning. So we could see this change and we could have evidence when we stand back and we monitor the Schumann resonance. So for those people that still might not be fully aware or understanding what the Schumann resonance is, there is a cavity from the Earth's surface to the ionosphere, a layer of electrically charged particles in the atmosphere. There is a vertical current flow between the ground and the ionosphere. The Schumann resonance, or Schumann resonances, are electromagnetic waves that exist in the cavity. They are not powerful or observable all of the time. As long as the properties of the Earth's electromagnetic current remain the same, the frequency remains the same. Mostly, spikes in the Schumann resonance are due to solar activity and galactic activity. And we're also going through the time period known as the Great Solar Flash. There's more solar activity right now. Our sun is changing. And this activity, this energy, courses through the Earth, passes through the Earth's ionosphere, and affects the cavity which exists between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere. So Nikola Tesla understood that above our head, up high in the atmosphere, lies a layer of electrically charged particles. And this special layer is called the ionosphere. And these electromagnetic waves that are coursing through the planet are affected occasionally. So the baseline for the Schumann resonance is 7.83 hertz. And sometimes we have certain spikes of energy or certain glitches that are going to affect human consciousness. So if we look at the chart here, we see 3 days of information. And we're using this as a teaching tool because we have both a major spike and we have a glitch here that we could talk about. So during normal activity, as we could see in this area and getting up to right before this spike, that's where the Schumann resonance normally is, right? So when we reach and we see the chart of hertz, when we go over 40 hertz, these spikes of above 40 hertz for the Schumann resonance are known to affect human consciousness. So our consciousness is expanding. We talk about 5D consciousness, the expansion of our senses, the expansion of what we are. This electromagnetic energy affects our consciousness, and it also affects our physical body. So we might see ascension symptoms, certain symptoms in the body. So these energies, as it shifts our consciousness, might also shift certain areas in the body. So in this last 24-hour period, you might be experiencing certain pains, maybe stomach ailments, maybe you had to use the bathroom more than normal, something is a little different. Maybe your sleep patterns have been disrupted. Maybe you're a little bit more irritable than normal, or you can't focus. Maybe you're losing track of time. You can't retain anything that you're trying to focus on. Maybe you're watching a video. Maybe you're trying to learn something. You're trying to focus. You can't. Well, that might happen during these specific spikes. Now, during the spikes, certain people might experience it maybe ahead of time, and certain people might experience it afterwards. If we look at this spike back here, some people might feel it around these hours. So if we see down here, we have the hours that are passing by, and we have the dates on the top. And this is a difficult concept to understand even for me, but as all of our consciousness is starting to shift, we're learning that when we think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, we understand our reality better. And that linear time, right, this is just like linear time passing as we get to here. This is where we are now on this chart. Linear time is not correct. Okay, so all of our times are different because I am vibrating differently than you are, and you are maybe vibrating differently than someone else. But there will always be a time period. So when I present, I'm trying to present as authentically as possible. So some people might experience major symptoms actually during the spike. Some people might feel it a little bit before, and some people might feel it a little bit afterwards, because our vibration is going to dictate our reality, what we are experiencing. And there is no right or wrong to this, right? This is just what it is. So your vibration is dictating what you're experiencing. People that I share with that are very aware of the Schumann resonance and ascension symptoms, some of them might experience things maybe a day before me, and some people might experience them a day after I feel these symptoms. But it's a time period. Like, for example, if this spike happens and maybe you didn't feel anything, you might feel it in a day or two. It's not relevant to 3 weeks from now. So that's where we say there's a window, a time period. And that's why all of these things are shifts. We still have linear time and we're operating out of the 3D. But when we think in the 5D and we think about shifts and that everyone's reality is slightly different because it's according to your core vibrational frequency. Now, as we go through these spikes, so you might see a spike here, and we have a spike here which measured over 72. So we had peaks of 72 and mostly in the 60s during the spike. That might shift your consciousness. It might shift the collective's consciousness. Or you might have certain ascension symptoms that might be specific to you. And those are the major ascension symptoms during these Schumann resonance spikes. Sometimes it affects our stomach, our sleep, our irritability, the way we're focusing and concentrating. But we're all having our own experience. So when we're thinking in these terms, that these are shifts and they are going to be specific to you and where you are on your journey. Some people understand that. Some people are expanding their consciousness to understand that. So we're not all the same. So during this readout over here, we have both a spike and we have a blackout. So what happens here is this is the void. This is nothing. So a little glitch in reality could be a shift, again, of the collective timeline, but any time that we have spikes or blackout glitches where there is no reading, we can see shifts in our reality, in the collective consciousness, or we can see ascension symptoms in our body. Since these electromagnetic spikes affect the planet, sometimes for further evidence, we can also see the buildup of energy in the earth. And then we will also see increased volcanism and increased earthquakes during or after these spikes. So during these spikes, we could have increased activity. Sometimes energy starts to build up, and then eventually, right, there's a release. Sometimes that happens in our body. Sometimes we get downloads, and this energy comes into our body. And we might have these symptoms, and we need to manage these symptoms, but you are being upgraded. And think of this almost like planting a seed. The energy was planted within you, but it does not mean that there's going to be these instant changes in your everyday life. So they might manifest a little bit later down the road, right? You plant a seed, and then eventually a beautiful plant will sprout. Maybe you get fruits from the plant, right? So the time period where this energy is either within you or it's within the collective. And we're seeing these major shifts on our planet. So we see these energetic readouts, and we're seeing them more frequent than we have in the past. So, which was a big deal maybe 3 years ago or 5 years ago. In recent times, we're getting them almost weekly or more weekly. And back to back, we see a lot of activity, including both a spike in energy and a void. 2 weeks ago, we shared about a major void, a major blackout that we had. And during that time period, some people had symptoms. We could have shifted our timeline, where we're headed as a collective. And our attention is very important. And that's what this is all about right now, is where we're focusing our attention. So it's important to focus our attention to what we want to create. We're in a period of like a timeout right now. And this time period can be used for creation, where we're going to go forward. Because we're not going backwards. We're moving forwards. And we're going forth with that new change, that new earth, that new reality that we are collectively making. And the more attention and the more people, and this is a reflection on overall human consciousness, we are collectively going towards the 5D earth. And again, when we think that time is fake, and this is all about vibration, we see changes, and people might be changing during a certain time period, and someone else might change during a different time period. But collectively, over the course of time, in the long run, we are seeing these major changes. So it's according to our vibration. Now we say, like, what's more evidence of the importance of these energies and the ionosphere? And we see that in the past, when Nikola Tesla developed the amplifying transmitter. And this was able to amplify and get energy from the ionosphere and provide it for the people. But this technology was dismantled. And that's what this time period right now, the Great Awakening, the 5D Earth timeline shift, that's what this is about now. You see, our world in reality is about 100 years behind if Nikola Tesla's technology and work was not suppressed from the people. So a lot of times there might be satanic mocking that says, oh, electromagnetism, silly. But we have the evidence here. So this is hidden from the people, and this is very important for us when we expand our consciousness, right? 95% of our everyday life experience is dictated by subconscious programs. And if we're subconsciously programmed to not think about these things here that exist, we are being held back. And this is no one's fault. This is due to the controllers of the narrative and the hidden information from our people. So as we are moving forward, that's what this is about. It's evolution. Isn't this our evolutionary journey, Light Warriors, right? This is about evolution. And this evolution happens in human consciousness. And when your consciousness is expanding, when your senses are expanding, you have more access to all of these things available to you, and you can improve your everyday life experience. So many people, as they are becoming more and more aware of the Schumann resonance and its importance to everyday life experiences, they find this fascinating when they see it match up to maybe some ascension symptoms that they see. Or they will see these bursts and glitches match up with major changes that we see on the planet. And again, we also have to keep in mind that our reality is based off of vibrational frequency. So each person is not vibrating exactly the same. And that's why this is called a shift. It won't be on one specific day, but day after day we are trending. Some of you read other charts, right? Maybe in business, and you see trends. So this is a scientific trending chart of the energy of this planet. And we are all connected to this planet. So if we see the energy trending upwards, we can have that evidence of the event of the 5D Earth timeline split. And where we focus our attention, that's where our reality goes. So this is important for all people to understand this as we are going through this shift right now. So I hope that this message is very helpful for all of you that have been following us and our journey, because we're doing this together, right? And this Schumann resonance, this evidence is going to be more and more important as we go through these great changes. A lot of people think that the change is, this is about to end and we're going to go back, but this is a new beginning. And that's what this is. We're here to be pioneers. We're here to create the new 5D Earth, and it's improved for all people. And a lot of the limiting beliefs, the subconscious programs, make us believe that this can't happen. But we're seeing the evidence, we're seeing the charts, and more of these Schumann resonance bursts that are affecting both us and the planet. And if we go back year after year, if we go backwards on this chart, we'll see that over time, this energy is constantly increasing, and it's connected to human consciousness. So some people say, well, what is this 5D consciousness expansion? It's happening through this energy, and this energy is coursing through our planet. So I hope that this is helpful for all of you. If you have friends, if you have people that are on their journey and they're ready for the 5D Earth, why don't you share this message? Because this message is more than just an update, but we could use this as a teaching tool. And I've seen the beautiful comments that many of you have wrote, and I acknowledge that some of you have been watching and we're still not fully aware of what the Schumann resonance is and you wanted to know a little bit more about this. So I hope this is helpful. As we do with every video, in the comments, at the pinned comment, there will be related videos to the current video, as we've been on this journey now for a while. So sometimes there's background information. So there will be a playlist of the Schumann Resonance at the pinned comment. And if you click on that playlist, and what I added was only the videos that were relevant from the beginning of 2020. And if you go through the videos, they will actually read like a book. And you could see that the Schumann Resonance is reflecting what we're actually are experiencing in the world. From the calm before the storm to the Schumann Resonance all-time high. Right? A few months ago, before this great change, we hit the highest level of the Schumann Resonance, power 170, before this whole shutdown happened. So we're seeing the connections. And we don't expect it to happen at that moment, but when we see this change, then we could apply it to what's coming up in the future. When we think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, we unlock the keys to the universe. And there's a lot of change going on. And this is about everyday life people. So we don't have to be professionals all the time. But there's one thing that we could always refer to. I like to simplify everything. You find it simplified, Light Warrior? Energy is the ability to cause change. And we can detect energy's presence by noticing the change. And when we notice these change, we're noticing energy, and then we experience energy in our everyday lives. So this energy is coursing through. Leave your comments, anything that you would like to include about the Schumann Resonance. Have you been experiencing any symptoms in the last 24 hours? And we're going through this together. So we're being pioneers. If this message resonates with you, share this message with other people so that they can understand what we're going through. Because when people are left in the dark, darkness is the lack of information, and no one should be left in the dark. And this timeline shift that we're going through right now, this event that we're all experiencing, it could be scary when people are in the dark, but when they have information available to them, they could easily navigate this time period. So I can't stress enough the importance of this Schumann Resonance. So it's grown a lot over the last year, and we're going to continue to expand consciousness on this Schumann Resonance. I guess I'm like that crazy scientist, like when we see these movies and they're like, oh, it's coming, it's coming. But good things are coming, Light Warriors. This is a good change for all of us. So remember that this energy is coursing through the earth. And remember, we cannot control what is around us. However, we can control from within. So be conscious of the Schumann Resonance and the electromagnetic energy that courses from the surface of the earth up into the ionosphere, bouncing vertically up and down, coursing through you, causing change, and all these experiences that we're having. So I hope everyone has a great day. Please share this message. It's a good teaching tool for people that are new to the Schumann Resonance. And I hope to see you all very soon out on the front line. I have a lot of new videos already made, but sometimes we need to take a minute, and when something important happens, we stop and we call an audible. So when I saw this, and I saw this Schumann Resonance readout, I saw that this was a good teaching tool. So we could see where it is when we have a spike, when we have a big spike, when we have a blackout. So what does the future hold? Nobody knows. Have a great day. Namaste.